One of the questions I get all the time is, Jay, what is your favorite part about living in Dominican Republic? And I know most people expect to hear me say the weather, the beaches, the food, the women, and the lower cost of living. And yes, I do enjoy all of those things. But after living here 5 years, none of that is my favorite anymore. The thing that I've grown to appreciate more is something that I never expected before moving here, and that's conversations. Some of the best conversations I've had over the last 5 years didn't happen in a boardroom. It didn't happen in some type of meeting, some type of scheduled event, or a conference. It happened over a cup of coffee, standing outside a Comado, sitting in a cigar lounge, or either just in line waiting on food. Sometimes it was just running into somebody that has recognized me as I was walking down the street. And I think this is something we've quietly lost in a lot of places around the world. And yes, we've been really good at staying connected, but horrible at staying connected to each other. And since I grew up in the 80s, living here has reminded me what community really feels like. One of the first things I've noticed when I start coming to the Dominican Republic is people actually stop and talk to each other on the streets. Not for 30 seconds, not for some quick, hey, how you doing? I'm good, and then they keep on moving. No, they actually talk. I can walk past somebody in my neighborhood and they're sitting out there talking on my way to the grocery store. I come back and guess what? They're still talking. Don't be surprised when you're walking through your neighborhood, someone stops and asks you about your family, about your daughter, about your kids, about your businesses. And guess what? They're genuinely asking and waiting on an answer. And for me, that was an adjustment, because I always thought that when people asked those type of questions, they were just being nosy. And it had me thinking, why do these people want to be in my business? And now that I've slowed down, I've come to realize sometimes the conversation is the point. It's not about people trying to be nosy. For the past year and a half, coffee shops have become my new workplace. Not because I have to, it's because I enjoy it. I drink Santo Domingo coffee every single day, sometimes twice a day. I'll be in the coffee shops, I'll grab my camera, I'll record, I'll edit videos right there, take a meeting, and before you know it, I've talked to 3 different people, and one conversation leads into another. Someone introduces me to somebody, I learn something, or sometimes we just sit there and we just talk about life. And a lot of those conversations have led to friendships, business opportunities, video ideas, collaborations. You can't plan that. Something like that just happens. So now let's talk about the cigar lounges. Cigar lounges aren't really about just cigars. And I know some of you are thinking, saying, hey, I don't even really smoke cigars. And honestly, it's not really about that. But if you're thinking that way, you're really missing the point. It's about slowing down long enough just to have conversations. In cigar bars, I've met entrepreneurs, doctors, politicians, lawyers, Dominicans, retired people, young expats, you name it, I've met them in a cigar lounge. Everybody's sitting in the same room, nobody's looking at their watch, and you'll be amazed how much wisdom gets shared over a simple cigar. Sometimes I'll walk in planning on staying 30 minutes and end up there for 3 hours and I'm still there. Now let's talk about another place where almost all tourists underestimate or never appreciate, and that's the neighborhood Comado. To most visitors, it's just a corner store. But for the community, it's like a neighborhood living room. People stop there on their way home, they grab a drink, they talk baseball, talk politics, family, business, life, and you'll hear music playing in the background, bachata, salsa, merengue, people laughing, and depending on where you're at, you'll see kids running around, you'll see neighbors coming and going, and it just reminded me that communities don't necessarily have to be organized. Sometimes it just naturally happens because people just spend time around one another. And here's another thing that I've learned about living here in Dominican Republic. Relationships aren't something that people squeeze into a schedule. They're a part of life. You don't always need an invitation. People stop by, families get together, and as I always say, the neighbors know each other. And because of that, life feels just a little bit more warmer here to me. Now, don't misunderstand me. Dominican Republic is not perfect. And I know people like to think that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. And I always have to preface that because you got your haters out there. Hater. Because people have disagreements here too. People get busy here as well, and life still happens here. But overall, relationships here feel like a priority, not a nuisance. And that's one of the reasons Pat and I started Balcony Boys, because here's something we realized. Some of our best conversations wasn't while the cameras were rolling. It was just 2 friends sitting outside on the balcony, talking life, money, purpose, relationships, culture, the world. sometimes agreeing, sometimes disagreeing, but always leaving with something to think about. And that's when I realized this. Conversation has value, and it never has to end all the time with somebody winning an argument. Sometimes the conversation just changes you. And now today my circle looks different. When I first got here, I didn't know many people. Now when I go to the coffee shop, people recognize me. I'll stop at a restaurant and I'll get people come over and wave to me. I walk into a cigar bar and everybody already knows what I like. And more often than you think, I run into people all the time when I'm filming. And that's not because I feel like I'm